Hello and welcome, and here we are back at Perfectly Paranormal, episode 143. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. I hope you don't get sick of me saying that, but I just love it. Today you're going to hear why spirits and ghosts have to be scary. And I have some information for you, but also I'm going to share some of the sweetest voice recordings that I've heard through my spirit box in a very long time. And you can make up your own mind if ghosts are scary or not. And I will say, this is one funny thing to take note of, that people keep their personalities when they leave their physical bodies, because their soul energy, as I see it, contains the personality. So if they were sneaky or sly or nasty or grumpy people in life, then most likely they're going to be the same way in spirit form. And that said, if they were loving and kind and caring in life, then they're probably going to be the same in death. Now, that's when we're talking about people who are what we call earthbound spirits. There's a spirit still in the earth environment. I don't deal with spirits on the other side. I'm not a medium. I just leave them to do whatever it is they're doing over there. I quite often come across spirits in people's homes or when I'm doing paranormal investigations. These are the earthbound spirits. They're still here for a reason. And sometimes if you've got spirits in your home, they're either connected to people or objects, or they've passed away in the home, and then you've bought the home, and the spirits are like, why are there people in my house? And they can be very, very defensive. I've come across a few of those in my time. So do you think spirits or ghosts are scary? Now, be totally honest here. Most people do. But why do you think that is? Before we listen to the voices that I've got recorded for you, I have outlined 4 main reasons that I've observed in people why they fear ghosts, spirits, or really anything unseen or unknown. So we're going to get straight into it. Number 1, our brains and bodies mainly sense environmental factors through our 5 senses. But when the 6th sense or the clair senses are awakened through whatever spiritual or psychic practices people are doing, sometimes it's like you are given insight into the energy world around you. This is what I say to people sometimes. Be very careful about doing spiritual or psychic practices or exercises, because once you open that third eye, you open that doorway into the energy world. Yes, you can kind of shut it down temporarily, but you are now connected to the energy world. And what's out there can see and sense you. You can't always see and sense them until you learn some of the signs and symptoms. But you've made that connection. You've willingly made that connection through doing the spiritual practices. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you've just got to be aware that it can change how your brain and your body and your mind and your consciousness senses the energy world around you. And I'm going to explain that a little bit later on through some of the voices and some of my experiences. So, number 2, culturally, or for those with very strong religious beliefs or religious backgrounds, sometimes these people are trained to fear the unknown. And it's all connected to the devil in whatever form that takes in whatever people's cultural or religious beliefs are. Everything's connected to the devil. Not always. There are other energy beings around us. And I see this as a massive control system. It's a mechanism to keep people controlled, to be sheep. Or the other day I heard someone say sheeple, which I found rather interesting, and it stuck in my brain. These sorts of people are sheeple. They follow like sheep. They can't think for themselves, or they're too frightened to think for themselves, or they don't want to express their own thoughts and opinions for fear of being kicked out of their the people that they're around or the religious beliefs. They don't want to be kicked out of their communities. That's the word I was looking for. So people are trained from a very early age to fear anything that they don't understand. And that's to do with everything that is unseen in the paranormal world. And I mean, that includes spiritual beings, like your higher vibrational beings, the devil and all his henchmen, your cosmic ET beings, your elementals, your jinn, which I came across recently, which I found rather fascinating. People are trained to fear it all. And that's through traditions, superstitions, churches people belong to, schools, like the list just goes on. If you talk about this stuff in society, in places where it's not appreciated, you will be shut down pretty quickly. And also too, this is another perspective. Some people don't talk about these beings, and it's not out of fear, but it's out of having a respectful awareness of these beings. Whether it's cosmic beings, some sort of religious being that's connected to religious practice, or the darker entities. Now, I have a respectful understanding and appreciation for all beings that are here, because they're all here for a reason and they all have jobs, and I treat them with respect, and I talk about it. You know, I've always been on the fringe of society. I've always been the black sheep of everywhere, so I don't really care what people think. I just put it out there. Now, number 3. Social media. Don't we all love social media? Whether it's messages or videos or shorts or whatever. The social media systems or the platforms, they portray the paranormal in dramatic, fearful, adrenaline-pumping ways for views, for ratings, for subscribers, for followers. That's why people do it. And most of the time, the spirit presence in places is because they're stuck, or they need help, or they don't know why they've died. I mean, I talked about this in depth back in episode 59, so if you want to check that out, go and have a listen. But I find that most paranormal experiences, if you've watched my YouTube channel called Annaschmidt Paranormal Specialist, a lot of my shorts that I do, they're very, very, I wouldn't say mundane, but they're very ordinary when I talk with spirits. They don't pull my hair, they don't throw me across the room. I may occasionally get sworn at, or they'll give me a poke, but generally they're just people going about whatever it is they're doing. And if you annoy them, they'll tell you to please leave, please go, get out. You might get the occasional swear word. But generally, they don't levitate people or pull people's hair or scratch people or any of that. Unless you annoy them and you're disrespectful, then you're just asking for trouble. So number 4, lastly, some people just love drama. We all know people like that. They're in our families, they're in our social groups, they're in our workplaces. These people love anything to moan and groan and complain and cry about for their own personal attention. Now, I'm not being harsh. I'm just being truthful. There are many, many, many people out there. If you watch paranormal investigations, I'm not going to get too sidetracked. If you watch paranormal investigations, how many of these people scream or they're quaking in their boots and you can hear it in their voices? Why are they doing paranormal investigation if they're scared out of their wits? Because it's just going to give them nightmares. It's just going to ask the spirits or the demonic entities who love what they call fresh meat. They've told me that. They're just going to follow people home and just cause merry hell in their homes. People just love drama. They can't help themselves. And I'm not saying everyone, but I present the paranormal in a very real way. I actually had someone tell me that my shorts were very boring. And I emailed this person back with, they are real. This is what will happen if you go on a paranormal investigation. You might be there and you might get 3 or 4 interactions, maybe through a spirit box or an EMF detector or a K2 or a REM pod. Spirits, they're not circus animals. We don't make them perform. A lot of the places I go to have been places where people are working, like old hospitals, asylums. You've got residents, you've got staff members, you've got the Javelin Man or the Javelin Men over in the Richmond Historic Jail. They're doing their job. They will tolerate you for a short period of time and then they'll tell you to please go. And you honour that because they're on the job. And I find that those 4 points cover most of the reasons why people fear spirits. Spirits, ghosts, dark, demonic entities, elementals, anything that we can't see. Now, let's get into hearing some of the voices that I've recorded recently. This is within the last 12 months through my spirit box. And what a spirit box is, it's simply a small radio that earthbound spirits can speak through. Specifically, it's the white noise that they can speak through. Now, a lot of people don't like the sound that it makes. I actually find it quite relaxing, quite calming. It doesn't bother me at all. It does bother some spirits. Some spirits won't use it. They really don't like it. But others do. Others love expressing themselves through their voice. Now, spirit boxes can be run forward or in reverse. Now, my brain says to me that if I run my spirit box in reverse and it's at a rate of 150 to 200 milliseconds and it's going back through the radio stations, the words that I hear, or the word or the statements that the spirits are saying, can't possibly be from the radio stations. And anyway, if you think about it, if I'm asking a question and the answer matches the question asked, they can't be just random radio voices. People who say that are just not using their brains. Now, these voices that you're going to hear today are from a local Tasmanian location. It's now a hotel, which was originally a nurse's home and a rehabilitation centre, connected to a mental health asylum that is in the same town. But it's not an asylum anymore. It's been converted into, it closed in the year 2000. There were some paranormal tours that were run there for a while, and now the council leases out parts of the location for art galleries, and some of it's been privately bought, and they're doing up the buildings, which is beautiful to see, and the spirits there are going to love that. But you're going to hear some of the voices from this nurse's home, and specifically the pool area and the gymnasium. And you're just going to love this. Now, some of the voices are going to be a little bit soft, and then some of them are very, very clear. And it depends on the spirit's strength, whether they can speak through in paranormal investigation devices. But what I've done is I've included the clearest voices that I've recorded. And the replies, they're very simple. Often it's just 1 or 2 or 3 words. Because I imagine it takes quite a lot of energy to speak through a physical, tangible object. So spirits tend to choose the most relevant word to convey their message, and you just got to kind of fill in the gaps. So if I were to give it a number, 50% of spirits that I've come across don't like the noise of spirit boxes, like I've just mentioned, because they're on the job. They're in their working facilities, especially I find medical staff, they really do frown on the noise, don't like the noise. But they're happy to use the EMF detectors, the K2 meters, anything that's EMF or has lights, they love, because the noise they just find it to be irritating. So let's listen to our voices. So you're going to hear me ask a question, and then you're going to have to really listen for some of the soft voices. But some of the other ones you're going to hear very clearly. It just sounds like I'm talking to a person standing next to me, which I am technically. Now, this old nurse's home, which is now a hotel, has a big pool out the back, like I mentioned earlier. And I'd never been out there before, and it was really interesting because when I walked out there with the lady that was the caretaker for the place, she had the key and had to let me out there. As soon as I got out there, I was hit with this running wave of energy running towards me. It was like a whole bunch of people. I mean, it could have been 5, 10, 20, who knows. I don't see spirits very readily, and thank goodness, because they're everywhere. I don't think my brain could cope. But I'm happy to feel them and sometimes hear what they want to say to me. So let's listen to these voices. There we go. I've changed the speed rate to 200. Ah, hello. That's better. Are you here to use the pool today? It's nice to meet you. I'm sorry, I'm not nursing staff. Oh, hello. That's a strong voice. I'm going to go into the cafeteria after. Do you want to come and have some lunch with me? We did. Is there anyone in the pool at the moment doing exercises?
Don't want to.
Oh, you don't want to? You don't have to go in the pool. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm simply asking a question. I hope it's okay to be here.
Join me.
No, it doesn't look like there's anyone here playing basketball. You don't always find spirits in every location you go to. Hello. What if I kick the ball and you can go and chase it? What do you reckon? Yeah? Let me get this soccer ball ready for a big boot. You ready? 1, 2, 3. How about I kick the ball again? What do you reckon? Hello? Sounds like a young male. Quickly! You're telling me to walk quickly. You're so funny. Now, I hope you found that interesting. Oh my goodness. They were absolutely lovely. The spirits there were just wonderful. No pinching, poking, prodding. They were just around me because they knew that I would respect them. They knew that I would go there. I'm not there to prove that they're there. I'm there to say hello. How are you? What are you up to? Are you getting in the pool today? And didn't I get some funny responses? Like, seriously, it just makes me laugh. Now, in the same little town, I used to work as a paranormal tour guide before COVID hit. And I was there for maybe 18 months. And I met a male spirit named Adam. Now, Adam had a very strong voice. And he used to love using the spirit box. This is many, many years ago now. And I didn't keep those interactions with him. I don't think I even recorded them. I was simply sort of there getting ready for a tour, and I was listening to him talking to me through the spirit box, which is rather lovely. They love being acknowledged. Spirits love being acknowledged when they're in places. They don't necessarily want your help all the time. Some do, some don't. Some like to go, hey, what you doing? Nice to see you here. And that's simply it. It's like talking to a friend. That's how I treat them. And this is why everywhere I go, I get interactions. Remember, it's not about proving that they're there. It's not about making them perform. It's about just saying hello and acknowledging them. And they might want to tell you something about themselves. So Adam was lovely. And oh my goodness, he had the deepest, most lovely masculine voice. And he always used to start his conversations with, hey. I just loved it. It used to make me laugh every single time. I thought, you are wonderful, Adam. He's probably listening now while I'm recording this. I wish I had kept them. I'm sort of kicking myself now, but it doesn't matter. I know they're real, and you'll love this. This I will never forget. I was at home one day, and sometimes Adam would follow me home, or if I was doing a tour that night, this was most likely when it happened, he would know that I'd be on the list as a tour guide. And I could turn on my spirit box, and quite often I was practicing my presentation of how I'd show people how to use a spirit box, because I'd never been a tour guide before, and I really had to learn sort of how to present myself, because I'm a little bit of a hermit, so I'm not really a people person. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I turned on the spirit box one day, and with just the intention of asking Adam if he was available to have a chat. And before I could even get the words out of my mouth, there was a very grumpy female voice that said, he's working. I was stunned. Like, I was seriously stunned. And I said, look, I do apologise. I didn't expect him to come and talk to me. I'm simply asking because I'm going to be doing a tour tonight. And I didn't get anything else out of her. Maybe she was jealous. Maybe she didn't like the fact that Adam the spirit was talking to a living female. Who knows? Who knows what goes on in spirit minds? Then in the same town, this same town here in Tasmania has a lot of spirit activity because it's very old and it goes right back to our convict times, because Australia is technically not that old. So a lot of the spirits that are here come from the convicts that came here. I don't have a lot of interactions with Indigenous spirits. I don't know why, but that's not my business to go down that track. If they want to come talk to me, sometimes I get Indigenous elders who present themselves in spirit form when I'm doing a property clearing. I acknowledge them and we work together to clear the property. But in this little town, oh my goodness, this was so, so lovely. I was at a convict cemetery. It was one of those mass grave type cemeteries that they had for paupers or convicts. I mean, no one was going to pay for a proper burial for these people. So they're all kind of just put in one great big hole. We don't want to think about that. But I'm sitting there on the seat and I'm looking at the memorial and all the names of all the convicts that were buried there. It was really quite beautiful. And I had my spirit box on. I don't always hear straight away when they say something. I've got to listen back with headphones on because I have a lot of tinnitus. So trying to listen through all the high-pitched noise is a little bit tough sometimes. So I go back and listen with headphones on. And I asked if anybody was there. I said my name and I said, I hope you don't mind. I've come to visit. I hope you're okay. And the most beautiful voice sang, Richard. It was just lovely. It was so beautiful. So this lovely man named Richard is still at that cemetery. Now, I've been back there many, many times. I always go and visit when I'm in that town. And I haven't heard Richard again. And that's fine. Maybe he's transitioned into the light, because I get a lot of that when I visit places, is that spirits will follow me home and they're like, help me, help me, help me, help me. They'll either go and use the transition beam that is at the back of my yard, or if they really like me a lot, oh my goodness, they'll follow me into the house, which doesn't happen very often, but I still help them anyway. Some of them like the personal attention that they get. So he may have transitioned into the light, and I'm really a little bit annoyed I didn't keep those sound recordings for you, but this is 5, 6, 7 years ago, and my OCD, I'm a tidier, a clearer, a deleter, get rid of things I don't need type OCD. So I deleted them because I thought I didn't need them anymore. So after everything that I've shared today, how do you feel about spirits now? Still scared, creeped out, or do they somehow seem a little bit more normal, just like us? They're just like us, but they don't have their physical bodies anymore. You can't scientifically prove that they're here. Scientists are a little bit skeptical, which is fine. Skeptics make everything real. But it's hard for science to measure the energy of the soul or the spirit. A lot of them don't believe in the soul. But I mean, seriously, when we die, our personality and our energy has to go somewhere. Does it go into the earth? Does it go into, if you believe in religion, does it go to heaven? Or wherever it is that you believe that you go once you leave your physical body? Or is there just nothing? And that's fine. People can believe whatever they want. But when I go to places and I get this rush of energy coming at me, like 15 people crowding around you to say, hi, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. It's really nice you've come to say hello. That's not me making that up. I mean, it doesn't happen everywhere. I know when it happens because my brain, oh my God, it's like I almost get pushed over. I will say though, don't assume that everything that comes up to you is going to be a lovely, friendly spirit, because the darker entities like to get close to us, and they will find the most sneaky, sly, conniving ways to get close to people. So they can pretend or disguise themselves as something innocent, like a spirit at a particular location. And I talked about this back in episode 42, where you can learn the differences and learn to trust your gut and your discernment when you understand what to look out for. Now, that rush of energy that comes up to me, it doesn't make me feel sick. Like, I have particular signs and symptoms when dark energy beings are present. My heart races, I get brain fog, I get a cough. I feel unwell because they have lower vibrational energy. Like they're darker, denser energy. These spirits were sort of light and bright and happy, and I felt fine. I just felt a little bit shocked at the wave of energy that came at me. But also, back in episode 51, I discussed spirits following people home. And you have to be aware, if you do paranormal investigations or you're doing energy work or you're just curious about spirits, sometimes your level of, I call it paranormal addiction, I'm right up there on the top level, most people aren't, but your level of paranormal addiction can attract spirits because you're pumping out that vibe that they're interested in. So you have to learn about boundaries. So if you're interested in that, I talked about that back in episode 51. So next week, in episode 144, you're going to enter the fascinating world of jinn and demons. We're going to look at the differences, the similarities, and the behaviours and tactics towards us. I am new to understanding jinn, and I didn't even give them a second thought until a religious demonologist lady that I'm doing some work with explained about these entities and who they are and what they are and where they come from and all the rest of it. And I was like, wow. And that sent me on a really deep dive into looking at these beings, because it got me wondering. I was like, oh my goodness, what have I been clearing from homes and other places for all these years? Were they demonic beings? Were they jinn? Or was it both? I don't get too obsessed about it. I just like to know a certain level of information. It's another one of my OCD things, is that I love the detective work and I like as much detail as we are humanly allowed to have. So stay tuned for next week, because next week it's going to be interesting. And I really hope that you're here to hear about jinn and demonic entities. If you like this spooky content of this episode today, please hit the subscribe button and you will get a notification when every new episode is released to the public. And stay tuned for many, many more episodes unpacking the strange and unseen aspects of the paranormal world around us. So thank you for joining me today. And don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.